Welcome to the Waseca Small Town Big Stories podcast, sponsored by Bird's Eye Foods and Itron. I'm your host, Ann Fitch, the Executive Director of the Waseca Area Chamber of Commerce, where we promote business and enhance community. Today, I'm joined at the Suburban Furniture table by Makayla Selvik and Sarah K. Hoffman, the owners and operators of Thyme on Main. Thank you for joining us today, ladies.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Super pumped.
Absolutely.
We're sitting with a celebrity.
I don't know who that is.
Kayla. Of course, it's Kayla.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually stoked you guys are joining us because, Kayla, you just got back from vacation.
Yes,
you just
that's 38-hour vacation, staycation.
Yeah, so thank you so much for finding the time to get here, and you were just off the plane not too long ago.
Anything for you, Ann?
It's really not for me. It's for the community. It's for the community. And Sarah, you're no stranger to podcasts.
No, I'm not. But this setup, like I was saying, it's stranger-like for me. Yeah, I have my own podcast, but I'm shutting it down. So I actually love to talk to other people much more than talk about all the poop stuff and all the gut stuff. So.
Oh, well, can we talk about yeah, let's talk about what your podcast was though. Yeah, what was your podcast?
No, it's a Gutsy Girl podcast. It's just all about gut health. So it's so far removed from what we do here in Waseca, but.
Well, it's kind of the end result of the bar on Main.
That is a valid.
Refinery 507 that we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
But I think I want to know how you two started, how you got together, and how you're at the place you're at now. Because you're both Waseca grads.
Correct.
Were you two friends in high school?
No.
That story is one for the birds, but we'll save that for a later date. No, we were always acquaintances. She was good friends with my brother. At the house a few times. I probably wasn't cool enough. Underclassmen.
Right. True. Ew, underclassmen.
No, like we knew of each other. And like, it's the same kind of story I say when I talk about Ryan, my husband. We knew of each other, but like we didn't hang out. We weren't in the same circles. We just, yeah. And basically the way that we got married up is because the building at 100 North State was always my dream to own that building. It's like the staple in this town. I knew that in some way, shape, or form, my dad played a part in it. I knew that Tracy was always going. There's so many things about that building I loved. But the building is huge, and I was like, what would I do with it? I didn't have a good enough vision on my own, and they're the only literal person. Don't get a big head, like shrink it down quick. But the only literal person that I ever even thought of to partner with was Kayla. And it's
for
because
an office space. This was just for an office space.
Yeah. At the time,
plan.
At the time, it's just gonna be just someone to create with, basically. Another person that was like highly creative and that would have fun with me in this space, right? And so at the time, she had also kind of rebranded from Makayla Ray Photography to.
I think it was right after I flipped that first house, and then I went to the design company.
The design part of it, and I was like, perfect. She everything she touches from like a visual standpoint is golden, and she has a lot of talents that I don't have, and this might be fun. So that was kind of the start of it. That's how
the ball started rolling. I got a text when I was at B-Dubs saying, do you ever want to go in business together? And I was like, what in the actual? Sure. All right, let's go. And that was, the rest is history.
But before this, Makayla, you spent kind of a lifetime in the food and beverage industry,
yes,
and in the photography industry. So you've seen your way around event planning, nonstop.
Yep.
So that's really been the backbone of what you bring to the table. You've spent a lifetime in the marketing realm, Sarah. So really, this marriage is really perfect for the business world. I'd like to hear from each of you about the steps to get to where you're at, not just as a partnership, but individually.
Who the hell knows? No.
Right.
I don't even know. We just, as we've said a million times, we never got that building to own a restaurant and plan events and do all that. It was an office space, a studio for her to do her work, a studio for me to do my work, tie that in with her passion for the building and the right timing. And it just it was a snowball effect, just in a more positive way. Some days, super negative in other ways. Feel free to chime in, Sarah, whenever you.
Yeah, I mean, is
starting
that
it.
is that what you're asking? Like how that played out, or
No,
just like
how did
yeah.
like Makayla, you left Waseca High School, and then what?
And then I took photos. I had babies. I bought my first camera because I had a kid like every other mom out there. Took a few photos and decided I could just take photos of my kids for a living, which made zero money. So I had a few people that I asked, did a few photos. Never did I imagine that 12 years later I would still be taking photos. So that was it. I worked at the boathouse. I worked a Yellow Mushroom way back in the day. I worked at, it was always just kind of making enough money to keep myself sufficient for the time being and being present. That was always just my goal. Just keep rolling. Here we are then. I don't know. It feels like it was a blur.
How did you go from taking pictures of my kids, not my kids, your kids? I'm
Yes.
speaking like I'm you, but I'm not you.
You're fine. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't have any children. I don't have your children.
That'd be weird.
It would be weird.
Okay. Anyways.
I digress. How did you go from taking pictures of your children to not only just taking pictures of your children, taking pictures of people's lives and memories and doing it so beautifully? Because honestly, so many people think that, oh, I have a camera, I have an iPhone, I can fiddle around with settings.
Right.
I'm now a photographer. And no, you're not. It's an artistry. Makayla Selvik is a photographer. She's an artist. So how did you get from that point and shoot time in your life to being a photographer?
I mean, it goes back to what I said before. I never had that confidence to naturally assume that I was an artist. If you would have asked me 3 years ago, I probably would have never said. I would laugh. It's like calling a cook a chef. Like it's the two different things. But connecting with people is ultimately my number one passion. And so cooking food, serving food for people, taking photos of people on their biggest days, watching brand new moms cry on the couch as you're snuggling their babies because they're exhausted and don't know what to do with diaper wrap. I mean, it's every single level, but also then watching them perform in front of the camera naturally, whether they think they're stressed out and they're yelling at their kids, and it's perfect. It's their life. They're glamorous. So connecting with people is bottom line. That's what photography, that's what that artistry is for me. Building those relationships.
I love hearing that when, and I've heard it several times on this podcast, when someone they start off doing something because, I can do it.
Yep.
And then they really learn that it becomes a passion for them, and it opens up a creative side for them. It's such a unique story to hear, and I love it. And then Sarah, you and Ryan left Waseca and you moved to the West Coast, and it just seems like your life kind of exploded from there.
Yeah, we did a lot of things in 11 years. So, yeah, I mean, like Kayla, I graduated from Waseca High School. And then after college, I actually went on my little, what I call California vacation. I lived in LA for 3 months and I hated it. And ultimately, through all of that, I met Ryan, and we then moved together back to California to a different place. And we made a home and a life there for 11 years. And I did all sorts of things out there, but a lot of traditional marketing because I'm old. And so that was a long time ago. There wasn't a ton of digital stuff then. A lot of, traditional marketing. I really got into the health and fitness and wellness space. And then just over time, like with my own health challenges, I started this little blog online. It was at the time called something like Confessions of a Fitness Foodie Junkie, something random like that. It was like so long and so obnoxious, but really the goal was just to be able to be in California and have my family back here, see what I was doing and how I was healing or not, or what was going on in our life there. And ultimately then I made a business out of it, and we adopted 3 kids in California, and we traveled a lot, just like on the West Coast where we lived, and it was awesome. But then my dad got sick with colon cancer, and that was in November of 2017. And by December of 2017, I moved back. Mm-hmm. And the rest is history.
Yeah, that's an excellent reason to move home.
Yeah.
What has it been like for you moving back to Waseca? I mean, the reason moving home is not a reason you want to move home with an ailing parent. But what's it been like moving back home?
I mean, awesome. Like it's weird. So I think I appreciated it more when I first moved back here because life is so much slower, and it's so awesome to be able to drive a mile and have it take 1 minute versus 10 minutes. There are definitely things that I miss. Like I miss the food culture that is out there and the access to food, since we don't even have a grocery store. Someone bring it.
We have a grocery store. It is Walmart.
Well,
They
the Walmart. Yes, the
We
Walmart.
just don't have a full service grocery store.
Yes. But yeah, like it's just, I think moving back here just is a whole different angle for me. Not living here for so long and now seeing it with different eyes and like through my kids and like the school system and how much better they are here than where we lived, and just so many different things. I don't know. There's good. There's also bad, so not bad, but different.
Yeah, just
there's no palm trees and it's not 80 degrees in February.
What? What?
Or mountains or, but all of that aside, everything else.
Have you missed Mount Cato? I mean, come on, Sarah. You're just not looking in the right place. And Makayla, you're living in an ag community. You married a farmer.
Correct.
Yeah. Talk about how that works into your life, because being married to a farmer is unpredictable.
It is. It's a completely different lifestyle. Part of the reason I fell in love with a farmer was I was somewhat raised on a farm. My parents split at a young age, and I had moved out to Fulda. Do you know where Fulda is? Close to Worthington.
Okay. Yep.
I was out there a lot, and it actually is, listening to Sarah talk, it's very similar to that. It's a different pace. You're doing different things. But it was just something that made me feel included. And so a farmer's lifestyle, that's the same exact thing. We're bringing meals out. Good old Megan Selvik and I racing dinners out at 7:00 at night with 3 kids in tow, snotty noses. But it's the same thing. It's a passion. When you see me work with people with cameras, you see him farming, raising hogs, pigs, baby piggies, all the things. It's the lifestyle. It's not glamorous by any means. It's stressful, but it's a good one.
It is. You two do great jobs balancing the work life.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well,
but
I
it's
think
a
that's
learning
something
lesson.
that actually, should be mentioned, that I think is really important, is how much Clint and Ryan do, because Kayla and I are, either gone or like with the kid, like we're trying to juggle a million things because, oh, by the way, we do still have our other businesses, right? So there's so much that we're trying to do. And so Clint and Ryan have these really, really vital parts in the business, in like life outside of the business. Like I can speak for myself, but I could never do it without Ryan.
I think we've made that assumption several times, is everything works for us because everybody has their lane, they stay in it, and it's actually amazing to see it all come together. But it's also little things in the family life, like, hey, Ryan's at work and we've got something going on, so Clint, go pick up the Hoffman kids last minute and let's have a pizza party. So you get to see the kids kind of grow into the business together too, which is actually really, really, really important to all 4 of us.
Kayla has a white Ford Expedition, and Isaiah told me the other night that, he's going to have a Tesla when he grows up, and his wife is going to drive a white Ford Expedition.
But also being that connected is another vital piece of our business, to just be honest, open, go through the ups, go through the downs. And everybody's opinion is so different in our business, which is crazy because, I got nervous going into it. I don't know, what if they don't like my idea, or what if I don't like their idea, and how does that work, and how do you keep meshing it? But it's magical.
That's kind of cool that your kids are growing up together like this. It seems like the 2 couples are very close, and that has to lead to the success of the business.
100%.
Especially with 2 hands-on dads like that, and 2 women leading this business.
Yep.
Are you finding your kids or have any interest in the business, as far as being there and not just wanting to be around mom at the business, but taking an interest in what goes on in the business? I know your kids are still fairly young. Yours a little bit older than Sarah's, but are you feeling that they're kind of nosing around in a more curious way?
They definitely take pride in the business, which is something that is very cool. Yes, and you did say it. Sarah's kids are a little bit younger, but they do. A couple weeks ago, they were all there hanging out. We have zero shame for anybody who comes in to see our kids kind of being little a-holes, a little wild. No, they definitely take interest in it, but they're just curious. They love to know the employees. They want to come back and help wash dishes. Avery, not so much. He'd rather be out front helping the servers, but to see them kind of build their confidence along with their passion for not necessarily just one specific industry, but the entire industry, whether it's helping flip some of the Airbnbs, helping sweep the floor, wash dishes, bring out food, hang out with Isaiah. It's every different realm. So that's definitely a really, really cool thing, I think, for both of us to watch, speaking for myself.
That's really neat. That's really neat that they want to help in the business. 'Cause how old are your kids, Makayla?
Oh, let me see my tattoo here. No, freshman, 7th grade, 5th grade, and 1st grade.
And yours, Sarah?
First, second, fourth.
Wow. That's quite the span for you ladies. Those are busy kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are very busy kids. So I do want to talk about the Thyme on Main and what that encompasses. Because I don't think that everyone knows what is under that roof. And like you said, when you first thought about it, we're just going to do an office space. Joke's on you two. It's a lot more than just an office space in that building.
You know what? It's
Holy
so much
cow.
better, though. It is so much better.
It's amazing what is under that roof. And if people have not been in there, if you've just been into what was the bar on Main, you should nose around in that entire building. Just ask Makayla and Sarah and they will show you around. Just talk about what the vision was and what it is today.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll be here for another 7 hours. No. I'm just going to be like very high level. So it's called Thyme on Main because the entire concept, once we really started to think about, okay, we're probably not going to make money if we just kind of make a couple office spaces for ourselves. We're going to be really, really out here. But the entire concept is let's have this main building in downtown Waseca serve as a place where people can really enjoy spending time joyfully with friends, family, coworkers, whether that is eating and drinking or staying or doing bridal showers or baby showers, groom's dinners, like all the things that you might want to do with your family and friends. We want you to enjoy it in any one of our spaces.
And I think not only enjoy it too, Sarah and I love being inspired, and which is something that I think we bounce back and forth with. She'll do something to inspire me. I'll do something. It's constant circle motion. We love to see other people be inspired. It could be the smallest thing, like go home and be your own bartender. It could be, it's endless.
Yeah, so when you walk into Refinery 507, there's a big neon light that says, you are right where you are supposed to be.
I love it.
And just like even talking about inspiration, I can't tell you people that I have never seen before in my life, how many people take pictures of that. And I think like that's just one small little piece where people are inspired. And I'll see people and they'll say things like, see, this is my sign. Like they might be joking, but it doesn't matter. Like it's one little thing. And I think there's just so many pieces like that dropped throughout the building.
So I suppose you want to know what's in the building then, correct?
Yes.
Okay, we never got to that.
All the floors.
7 more
All
hours.
the floors.
All the floors. Go ahead. You start with Refinery 507, right? That's the most well-known in town. That's the face of the building. Go down to the basement, the event. It is an old glorified bank is what we love to call it. What do we
Because there's the
down
vault
there?
down there from
Yep,
the old
there-
bank
yep.
that was in that building 100 years ago.
There's a lot of history down there for sure. So we do baby showers, we do bridal parties down there, we do groom's dinners, work meetings at 8 a.m., all the things down there. So moving on up, I'll let Sarah continue.
Well, I mean, yeah, downstairs in the event is really just kind of that darker vibe. It's more like that's why it is good for groom's dinners. We did host a wine pairing down there the other night for a local business. It has a fireplace. There's a TV. There's a separate little bar space. So we'll do holiday parties down there, a lot of them. But it's really for the person that's kind of looking for that like darker vibe and just like pretty chill. Although I will say, even though my most loved space, I would say, is probably the studio upstairs, and that's rented all the time for these similar events. I'm always surprised at how many people would rather choose the event downstairs. And I think it's just that's why I always say when people are wanting to do an event, I'm like, come in and see it. I'll take you to both because you're going to know immediately when you step in which one fits your event. So that's kind of downstairs.
Yep. And currently now in our back office space, we did the office for a while with Benya, We miss her. We loved that. But slowly evolving over time. Right now we have Awakened Vibrance in there, who is only residing in there as a temporary fix until we continue our next project, which they'll be moving into. And that would suffice the main floors. Going up the stairs, then you have the studio, which again is one of our most loved spaces. That's everything. I think we have a handful of 5 or 6 photographers that are pretty regularly using it, which is really cool. And that's cool for me on 2 levels because I get to see these other people build this community and support each other versus it being a constant rat race or comparison, knock somebody down, just keep going up.
So you're letting other photographers basically come into your space. I love that. I love that collaboration.
Yeah.
That sense of community with other photographers.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's up there. It's just light and it's bright. There's tons of windows. There's a lot of brides will get ready up there for their wedding day because there's like a whole bar that has, the mirrors at them and their bridesmaids can get ready in. It's just, it has a small little kitchen and it has its own bathroom up there, which people love. So there's a lot of positives to upstairs there.
And then it's the Airbnbs. We have a basic building. It's a thing. So we did our basic names for the Smiths, the Jones, and the Millers. One of them is a studio Airbnb, one of them is a 1-bedroom, and one of them is a 2-bedroom. And this was Sarah's idea initially, and I kind of was like, I don't know, but you know what? We already bought this big, huge building. We might as well do something with it. And that has allowed a lot of creative to flow out of me, and also I think into her and her. It's just this crazy concoction of this worked, and we get to see these people from Hawaii and Arkansas and just all over stay. It's a beyond what I ever expected it to be.
I think that there are people in this community who have no idea that people come and stay here from out of town. I think that they think, why would someone come to Waseca and stay? But I see people in that back parking lot loading up their pillows and their bags all the time.
I cannot even tell you how. So, like, I have a whole process. Like, Airbnb is a lot of work. I know a lot of people think you just like slap something up and put it up online and hope people are happy. No, like, I am a super host.
Nice work.
Very important.
Nice work.
Yes. Very important.
You can't tell by her tense body language right now.
It is a lot of work. But what I will tell you is I have a whole process I have to approve people to come. And so usually when people request to stay, they tell me what they're coming to town for. So, I know that there's X percentage that are here for a wedding at the mill or whatever. But you would be surprised how many times, like this weekend, we have 2 of our rooms that are fully booked all weekend by a group of girls who just were randomly searching on Airbnb, thought Waseca looked like a cute town. They loved our Airbnb and they're coming here. But that's this weekend and it happens all the time. And I'm like, and then what's even cooler is afterwards, when they leave reviews or whatever, or write in our books that we have up in the rooms, they'll say like, oh my gosh, Lush was the best place to get that cupcake or so cool. Coffee, or we love zinnias or whatever it is. Like, people do love Waseca.
I think that's fantastic to hear, and that just needs to be reiterated to people in our community. Sometimes we are our worst critics in our community, and hearing that people from outside enjoy coming here, spending time, spending dollars, that is so key, because we need to reiterate that to our entire community, that people like to come here and spend money.
Yeah.
And you actually have the proof. It's not anecdotal evidence. It's not what we hear. You have the proof that people come and stay.
We have a lot of proof.
Yeah.
We've been keeping track. It's fun.
It's uplifting. It's uplifting for us. It's uplifting for our community. It's uplifting for our children who are being raised in this community. It's very cool.
Thank you for doing that. And I'll be honest, when you ladies bought the building and I'm like, oh, they're going to take away the apartments and make Airbnbs. I'm like, I don't know. Those are nice apartments. But I changed my tune pretty quickly, because when I saw what you did with them and how awesome they were, I'm like, okay, these are going to be awesome. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty big decision. But I was like, we do need more places to stay in town at the end of the day too. I mean, we need apartments and people need places to live, but also because Makayla is such a great designer, it was going to be such a fun thing I mean, the Airbnbs are super charming. So
They are.
we kind of just decided to go for it and see what happened. And I'm really glad we did.
Right. At the end of the day, it was a risk that we were just willing to kind of dive into, and here we are.
Yeah, I think they've just been a great addition. Great addition. And it's unique because there's not many places to stay downtown temporarily.
Right.
So I think it's just fantastic.
Well, and to that point, that's something that is interesting. We have had long-term guests stay. So there's this guy, love him. But he does contracting work at Federated. And he's like a chef, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. And so he will come and stay for like a month at a time. And we love him. As soon as he requests, I'm like, done. Because he's awesome. But people also will stay for long periods of time.
Oh, very nice. Does he want to do some guest work at Refinery 507?
I know.
He's too busy with his own work.
Yeah.
Sure.
begging cooks.
Let's talk about the name change.
Yeah.
Because I think that for some people it was like, what is this? What happened? Why?
Yep.
Why? So talk about it.
Well, yeah, we've heard it all, that we couldn't hack it, that we sold it, that it's someone
What?
new. No. No, it's very simple, to be honest with you. I think we were really struggling with the fact that it was called the Bar on Main, because it really put us into this box where people thought that we were just another bar. And I say that very lightly because the bars that we have in town are awesome and I love them. However, I had been hearing from people like, hey, I really want to come in there for a lunch meeting, but I can't really have on an expense receipt the Bar on Main, or things like that. And while it sounds very trivial, also the fact that we have kids and that it is a place where you can bring kids, it was really hard to get beyond the name. And being that we have only been open for 2 years now, we just celebrated our 2-year, it was the perfect time to do it. I mean, some massive brands will go years and years and years and then make a name change. And people, everyone has their thoughts, but people are like, oh, a brand change. We do it in 2 years. Like, because we knew that long-term Refinery 507 kitchen and cocktail bar suited what we are doing now and where we're going next.
I think also though too, I feel like in the beginning especially there was a lot of, oh, we didn't even know you had food. We thought you just had alcohol. There was a lot of factors that really went into it. But at the end of the day, we were sitting at the pool one day and Sarah goes, "You're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me." And I'm like, "Well, okay. Well, let's get this over with then." She's like, "I kind of want to do a rebrand." And the craziest thing is that was already on my mind, and it was yeah, so do I. And so that was okay. We both agree. We're both feeling right about this. Let's move forward with it.
And how did you come up with that name, Refinery 507?
That was so much fun. So we are obsessed with marketing, branding, design, like online, offline. So literally that was probably a Thursday or Friday. And by that Sunday, I think we had it down because we had spent day and night in like these certain documents we had online with different, like we would just pull in different logos and different fonts and
verbiage.
Like we just kept pulling and playing, and we just landed there.
And I think too, like we really enjoy some of our cocktails are a little bit more fancy and some of them are basic. We have a wide range of all the things, but we have a lot of fun with our staff as well, creating some of these concoctions, whether it's the food or the cocktails. And for some of them, we kind of joke that we're refining the way that they're thinking, because they're like, you cannot get away with this in Waseca. And that's what we've been told since day one. So
totally agree.
Just push us to the limits and we're going to keep going.
I think the logo and the font really speaks through to everything you're doing, because it's clean, it's fresh, it's modern. And that is your food and drink menu.
Yep.
So I think you really nailed it with the rebrand, and I like it.
Thank you.
I really like it.
That's what we were going for.
We love it.
Well,
Auntie Anne's approval.
as a consumer, nailed it. You guys are such nerds. But yeah, great job, ladies. I think what you've done with that building is fantastic. And kudos to the owners before you.
Yeah.
Kudos to the Sharps. Obviously to the Jevnings. When you speak about Tracy before, I feel like Tracy has evolved into a one-name celebrity in town. You know, she's
I just
definitely
got goosebumps.
right. She is. It's like a share. You
Yeah.
don't need a last name.
Yep.
Tracy's Tracy in town, and so to keep going with what she has created, I think is just magical, and what you two have done. And so I think you know, I'm appreciative of what you've done. I think her family is probably appreciative. So thank you for what you've done to that building and keeping that going.
You do know that we're appreciative too, because we have some of her old equipment that we still use.
I love that.
It's saved us, actually.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would not be at the capacity that we're at. So Tracy is with us every single day.
Yeah.
It's the coolest.
I think that's fantastic. What other little things have you kind of carried through from previous owners in the building?
I think obviously Tracy, that kind of speaks for itself, especially with Sharps. Sarah and I both loved their cocktails, their elevated cocktails that they had. And while we wanted so many of their recipes, we just didn't feel right about using all their recipes, and we wanted to kind of craft some of our own. But they definitely gave us the inspiration for that, I would say. Our styles were a little bit different. And obviously we do need to give them credit for their Thai chicken tacos and the Korean pork tacos, because they did get that ball rolling. So
Yeah, those are good.
The other cool thing that not a lot of people know that is Tracy and Mike. So when you walk into the building, around the windows, what's that called, Kayla?
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Around the windows, like the wood.
Oh,
Like
the trim?
Like the trim, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. See?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
what I deal with. It's
See?
fine.
Great.
It's fine.
Well, I mean, her husband's also, you know, in construction.
Yeah.
So,
It's
you know, he's got a.
It's fine.
You know,
is
the
normal.
terms.
So
The trim.
The
Sarah,
trim
the
didn't really fit our aesthetic that we were going for. We wanted something modern, more clean, flat. But we were like, okay, how can we still keep this? So we removed that, and then Kayla and Clint painted them.
And my
so,
stepdad, yep.
So what you see today for our flight boards, that is actually the old window trim.
Oh.
So yeah, isn't that?
Oh, I love how you repurposed that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and we try to do that a lot. Like Kayla's done that a lot with different pieces up in the Airbnbs too, like different wood pieces.
Because history is the history of the building is it's incredible. You go down the rabbit hole and you almost don't come back out.
Yeah, that is a very historic building in town,
Yeah.
and just that corner there, you know, State and Elm is just a historic corner, and so to preserve that building inside and out, I think is just a real precious thing for Waseca. So thank you too for doing that. I
love
think
it.
that's a testament to you as young building owners, because I think it's very easy for younger building owners just like, we're changing everything, we're ripping out, we don't care about the history. So it's appreciated that you took the time to do that.
Yeah, we love it.
Well, before we wrap up today, my last question for you is: we're going to try something new. You're the first ones to endure this question.
I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I know. Back when you were 17, before kids, before spouses, before reality hit, what did you envision yourself doing for a living?
That's really easy for me because Ted Hammond was my all-time hero, and I was obsessed with DECA, and he had Andrea Popeil come to class and speak. And she did a lot of the event coordinating and everything for the Macy's Day Parade. She worked for Macy's. And she came in and talked, and I told Ted, that I was going to have that job someday. I was going to climb my way up and do all big things in marketing on the East Coast, just like Andrea. And here I am with the building in Waseca. Great. Just kidding.
You know what?
Doing big things.
That's exactly.
You're doing big things.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And
yeah.
you could come close by getting on the Marching Classic committee, Sarah. So I will put
Zero
you in.
pressure.
Yep, I'll
Zero
put you in contact with Edna Burns immediately. So dreams do come true. Kayla, how about you when you were 17 before reality hit? What did you envision yourself doing?
You know, I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know where I was supposed to be. I didn't have that straight direction. And it makes sense kind of with how I am now, because I want a modern house. I want a historical house. I want a farmhouse. You know, I like to collaborate every single thing. But no, I was in the food and beverage industry, waiting tables, living life, not thinking I could ever leave this town, but feeling the need to escape it. I met Clint, and clearly the rest was history. 4 kids later, you look at your town with a different because even when I had the kids, I didn't think I'd be a business owner. I never in my wildest dreams would I imagine owning a downtown building in the town that I grew up in with pride, confidence, and support. So polar opposites on that. But yeah, I was just living life.
Well, you're in a pretty damn good place now.
I am.
Thank you so much for you two being here. I think you are going to be very successful in that building for a long, long time, and an inspiration to young entrepreneurs in this town because you're really doing it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to our sponsors, Bird's Eye Foods and Itron. Without them, we could not tell the big stories of our small town. And thank you to our production team, Small Town Media and Production. Join us next time for another episode of Waseca Small Town Big Stories.